Don't consider donating Melvin ambulance. I don't think Sandy has to be here for that. I don't know about that. So one of the members of the fire department said we told Sandy we didn't need it, they were gonna sell it. She was upset about that because it's the county's property. If somebody's gonna sell it, the county's gonna sell it. We had a meeting last night with the fire department. They are gonna keep it, they're already using it. The title needs to go to the city, Rochelle, if you wanna pass
Okay.
that along to.
Okay.
But they've already refurbished what they can and it's gonna be in use, so I'm not, yeah.
We took this approach with Ocheaton previously, right?
Yeah, they didn't do quite what Ocheaton did with theirs because another rescue van came up from Sioux Rapids. They bought that, but they still feel this will be better for traffic control. You don't have to take it out in the wintertime, but we always took a fire truck out, worry about it freezing up, blah, blah, blah. They can take them, they got the green, what do they call it, scoop saver that they use. That's a big conglomeration. They got that in there. They got more tools and things, so they're excited about using it. So the Melvin is gonna use that. And
Sandy is supportive of this.
yes, yes, it was either them or she was gonna offer it to somebody else. But this one person came in and said, no, we're gonna sell it, and then she didn't like that idea, so,
I'd say let's give it to them.
yeah, okay. Do we need to make that a motion?
Yeah.
Have a motion to donate the Malvern ambulance to the Malvern Fire Department. Do I have a second? I have a motion by Schulte, support by Lori. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
I gotta call Keith then.
Sure, this is the item that says the chair is to be the Title VI and DOT
Oh,
and related Title VI assurances. Or it changes anytime the chair changes, and we've been utilizing Keith, so I think it's just an annual action or whenever the chair changes to cite that.
Good answer.
Which one are you?
consider an approval of Title 4, 5, 6, agreement with Iowa DOT and related Title
Oh, yeah.
6 assurances. Who was it that left and came back?
Oh,
Is that Connie? I think she's listed next
Yeah.
to Sin. Connie Byers,
Oh,
maybe?
okay.
I was thinking the same thing. Cause she had gone down to the floating one, hadn't she?
Just, or whatever they call it, temporary.
she's the one that lives out on Highway 9, or, yeah,
I don't know where she
I
was.
thought they were in town.
Connie Byers.
one that bought Doden's place out on the highway.
No, that's a different buyer.
That's why.
That's not that buyer.
Is that Kristen
Kristen.
Davis maybe?
I think originally she was from Ocheaton, I think.
I don't think I know her.
Yeah, if you saw her, you would.
That's the sad part. I think I used to know everybody in the county now. I don't know.
I
if
still
they-
have kids in school, and I'm surprised how few
Yes.
I recognize.
Yeah.
I went to the high school top.
Does anybody want a cinnamon roll while we wait for him? Leroy, do you want one? A cinnamon roll?
No.
Jeff?
Thank you.
Sure, I'll take one.
They take all the plates?
I'm sure they are.
Right, Leroy?
I'm good for right now.
You put it in the microwave, a little butter too.
You're asking a lot there, dude.
Thank you.
How about you, Jerry? Did you want one?
No, thanks.
Sandy?
Jason,
I don't know what happened to my plates.
Change my
Right
mind.
here.
Thank you.
Keith, we're on considering the approval of Title VI agreement with Iowa DOT.
Yeah, this is the federal Title VI anti-discrimination policies that we're required to do for receiving federal funds on various projects, not just our road projects, but any federal funds that the county receives. I'm currently the Title VI coordinator, so I coordinate making sure the language is correct, things like that, and do the audits with the state for the DOT projects. No one else audits us for anything, I don't think. So this documentation is necessary whenever there's a change in leadership at the county. So with you being the new chair, this just basically re-ups me as the representative for Title VI, unless you want to do it.
You're doing a wonderful job. Maybe even due for a raise.
Okay, yeah. I heard that.
Because I don't want to do it.
You can pass the chair stipend on to him.
All right. You guys all heard that?
Make a motion for approval.
I have a motion by Randy Hook.
He did it for me last year, so I support him doing it for you.
Second it.
And support from Laurie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You did all that running for nothing.
That's okay. You're getting a floor, and you can see the pumper truck out there.
Yeah, it's not coming over here.
Okay. Consider approval of appointment of county buyers as dispatcher, jailer, and tax.
And her salary is $54,277.
And support. All right, I have a motion and support. Any
Um,
more discussion?
Question with that, does that require to go back to the beginning of the wage matrix, or
Don't know.
That was my question.
I think we better make sure that gets handled appropriately? Not that I want that to be the case, but I don't want us,
How long was she off?
She never was,
She was a floater, wasn't she?
yeah, she changed it to a floater.
since you remain
And then
as an
she-
employee and I would like to see us consult with Jack on as to how that gets handled, but I fully support bringing her back on. I was confused by seeing her name on there, so it's good to hear that she was willing to come back.
Jim, you want to go ahead with it, or you want to wait till
I'll go with it, the way it's written here.
we have a motion and a support, don't we? All those in favor of appointment of county buyers?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Consider approval of pay raise for Charles Vole as dispatcher jailer.
And his salary is going to $50,189.
Would you put me as abstain on the last one then, with that question?
How long have you been there?
I think it goes every 6 months, they get a pay raise, so he's at his 6 months time frame.
I'll make a motion for approval of that
Charles Vole.
pay raise for Charles Vole.
Have support. Motion by Vandy Hoof.
Support it.
Support by Lori for the pay raise for Charles Vole. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Consider approval of resolution number 9, 2526, identifying county operating funds. comments, questions?
Make a motion to approve resolution 9.
And a motion from Schulte to approve resolution 9. Do I have support? Support from the board. Any more discussion?
If you need a place to put that up.
I know, you do.
Mr. Schulte.
Aye.
Mr. DeBoer.
Aye.
Mr. Vandy Hook.
Aye.
Mr. Owen. Mr. Helmers votes aye. Consider approval of resolution number 10, 25-26, interfund loan between general supplemental to Oakdale County Flex Fund.
And I sent out one on Friday for 5,000, but I talked to Sharon and she needs 10,000. And the county will get paid back. It's a flex account that, you know, people can deduct for like braces, daycare, unreimbursable Medicare or medical expenses, dentist expenses, and she's had a couple of them that have dentist bills that need to get paid for braces. So that's why she's asking for that. And it will get paid back within this fiscal year, but we might have to do it again for next fiscal year. But by the end of the year, for sure, she'll have it all paid back. So, and Dave said, previously we've always done a motion, but Dave said it has to be a resolution. So that's why it's that.
For approval of resolution number 10.
Was that a motion, Jason?
Yep.
I have a motion from Randy Hook for resolution number 10. Do I have support? That's support. I have support from Warren. Any more discussion? If not, Mr. Randy Hook.
Aye.
Mr. Warren. Aye. Mr. DeBoer.
Aye.
Mr. Schulte.
Aye.
Mr. Helmers votes aye.
The claims, we gotta kind of probably want to wait. We probably want to wait because,
Yep, because of this.
yeah.
You want to take over? I take over this time? Not really. Yes. Okay.
I don't need that, you've got it, you did that hard copy. Oh, you need a bigger box. Keep forgetting about that box. We have, yeah. Did that last year.
Yeah, to bring it to
And
a
Emily
style.
does.
Do the style?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Can those go sideways at all, or it's gotta go up and down?
It can go straight.
Yeah, she was here for like
When we do a
weeks.
bridge or something, something that goes straight out.
You go around
Did a
the
good
wall.
job, you know, ballots and all of that, she did a good job. And she was for weeks in hospital, $140,000 that were like needed to take out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're, it's in the county. Yeah. Did he finally do it?
Grab chairs and sit down.
Right, this takes you long.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, I do bonfires. and
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, it's just something we like to do. We can say meeting every month.
I think it's good, I like to sit on
Not really. What?
it. We're only at 54% complete.
You got concerns with asking for a time frame on the completion and not getting answers, or did I hear that right? Or you've requested knowing like when equipment would be transferred over, or what kind of completion date we have, and you're not getting? answers or?
Only at 64,000.
Enjoy the meeting.
Yeah,
Jesus, must be
yeah,
bad.
for a long time.
I can't believe you're only at 50%.
I'm scared because we don't have too much left of that bond money.
20th, I think was. 20th at 1, I think.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
I don't know if I have to shall.
I have to call him. Are you ready for me to call him?
Well,
I know, everybody said Fred. It's like, who is Fred? I don't know a Fred. I can call him.
This afternoon.
And I don't know who else
High
is,
school, my best
you
friend.
know,
What happens if you don't show
My
up?
dad's name was Fred, so he started calling me Fred, and my dad's name was John.
did you get an email
I've
from?
been Fred ever
If
since.
it's all functional day one, why
Okay, so
would
I'm calling John right now.
it be different?
Have a good one, Jerry.
Okay, 10
If it's all
o'clock, we
functional
will
day one, why
discuss
would
the
day
jail
60
remodel
be an
project
issue?
update.
This is Becky.
Ah, Becky, I give
Yeah.
up. All right, sorry.
Bye.
She doesn't trust you, Becky, she's just making sure you're there all the
Oh, I
time.
was like, what is going on here?
Are they giggling again like they did the first time?
Probably. I would be giggling.
I hope it's Becky again.
Not.
John Hanson speaking.
Hey, John, this is Rochelle and the board for Osterla County.
Yep. Morning.
Morning, John.
Just give you a little bit of an update. Roofing is about 90%, 96% complete on the north side. We got, of course, metal flashing and downspouts to do, but today they're pouring the west general population in West Mill Max area. And then the schedule is they're going to pour exercise and GP tomorrow. And then the max and control room they're going to pour on Friday. So they'll be done except for the quarter portion, which they'll coordinate that with the masons next week. The masons going to start laying block in those areas. So they're set up to start next week, and they're also going to pour the garage doors on the existing facility, that area, today. So that'll be ready to go. Right now, Denison's working on the connection between the two buildings, and they'll be putting roofing on that. So they'll be starting to close up everything over there. And like I said, masons will start laying block next week, and then the electricians are already pulling strings through their conduits, lines through their conduits, full wire, make sure they're operational. So everything's starting to pick up some there, you know, and so they'll be pretty much poured out of that north end by the middle of next week. So I guess, and so they got testing and stuff that's doing also. So I guess I was just looking to see if you had any questions or not.
Yeah, this is my question is the checkbook is starting to run low. How much we got left?
The checkbook's starting to do what?
Run a little short.
Run a little short.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much do we
Well, we
have?
haven't added anything to it, you know, even the extra work we've gotten done. I traded some of that off so that we can get that done without extra cost, so,
How much do you think we have left?
Well, right now, we're at what, 655, or 681? that we didn't have when we started. So we haven't gone up, that much. But I figured I talked to Rochelle a little bit and said if you're, with the things with moving E911 and things like that, anything you wanted to defer, I budgeted 800,000 for the 26-27 year. Does that answer your question, Mike, or?
Well, kind of.
Not that I'm aware of.
I told him I don't know. Her checkbook was running short.
That way?
Yes, nobody had left her checkbook was running short.
Yeah, and then Corey has questions about 911.
Yeah, John, this is Corey with EMA and 911. So, as we talk about the moving funds, we didn't plan on that in the past year anyway for this budget. As Mike's concerned, we spend, let's say, $500,000 towards this project every month. Let's say it was scheduled for a year. Now we're looking at going on 18 months, possibly, at the same price tag every month. I mean, we start running low, right? So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem using 911 funds for what they're allowed to be used for, moving 911 equipment, our PSAP center. But I don't understand how much we need for that. And then again, who's the contractor and who's responsible for doing it? Because I did talk to Alpha Wireless, our regular, I guess, tech people for that PSAP center, and they haven't heard from you. And I don't know if we could sit down and see what they're responsible for or your contractors are going to be doing. But I guess I'd like to kind of bridge that gap a little bit and get on the same page. So.
Yeah, for one thing is, I wasn't talking about moving any air funds. Originally, Corey, you weren't involved at the beginning, but we were over budget and and it was decided to do the whole project, which includes a lot of the work within the existing facility. So, I mean, these funds were always supposed to be moved for that purpose. As far as the E911 goes, there's several entities besides Alpha Wireless that have to be set up, you're gonna have Windstream and all that, and like I had told you before, we're gonna have to get together, sit down, because the contractors are responsible for pulling wire and stuff, electrical and everything else. But there's going to be additional things that Alpha Wireless and them are going to need. But the conduits are in the ground, for the pulling the wire from where the new E911 equipment will go into the control room and such. So as far as that goes, we have to get together with Alpha Wireless and stuff, and there will be a cost, and that's where your E911 funds will come in to play, not necessarily for the construction, but for the move. Does that answer your question?
In a roundabout way, yes. I know this is probably the bad setting, and I haven't done my due diligence to reach out yet. I've talked to Alpha and sat down with him a little. How much are they responsible for, and when does that meeting should happen, and we could, decide that soon. But they're possibly 6 months to 8 months out on their schedule for that move, and this is just a small part of the bigger picture. So I guess, yeah, I want to move that along and have confirmation in my head of when that's going to happen and how well it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I figured I'm coming up there beginning of February so that we could sit down and you and I go over stuff. So we had a handle on that. And then we are going to have to set up several meetings with the providers, whether it be Windstream, Alpha Wireless, ICN, those all have to be coordinated, together. And so there'll be meetings that we're gonna have to hold because we have to file with the state, I believe it's 6 months in advance, you know, or at least 90 to 120 days in advance, for the move. And then when we schedule that date, then we have to hold that date for that move. I've done, you know, 5 or 6 of these. I mean, we just finished Pocahontas, and it went smoothly. We were up in 12 hours when we did the transfer, and I believe we can do that easily because we're moving some of your existing equipment, you know, like the stand desks and stuff, over to the new control room. So that's something that we have to coordinate, and you and I will have to be in touch on a, you know, bi-weekly basis with Alpha and these other people when we get into that. So I figured we're going to have to start that rather quickly. So I figured I'd come and spend a couple of days with you up there, beginning in February sometime, and then we'd start getting all these contractors together and coordinating them.
Yeah.
But as far as cost, Alpha Wireless and stuff, that would be through E911, which E911s are specific for that portion of work.
Sure. I guess asking the board, do we have an idea of all this extra cost that we have in addition to the, you know?
The E911?
No, not just E911, I'm just saying if there's furniture that needs to be purchased, and maybe this is way out of my realm, but I'd like to, you know, we're gonna build the building and not be able to furnish it, you know, let's just say with a chairs or two. And yeah, we're gonna move some existing PSAP equipment over, which on my side, looking at some older equipment and updating on repeaters and whatnot, but just kind of curious what we got to handle on that. So.
I mean, if we need a couple of chairs and stuff, that's why I'm recommending the 800,000, so that I said, you know, when I was talking to Rochelle, or I emailed Rochelle, that, you know, there's going to be certain things we're going to want to purchase out of there. Now, if you're buying new stand desks, that's not my understanding from the previous discussions before you got there. My understanding is that existing equipment's moving over to that control room.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. And then as far as repeaters and stuff like that, there's no way we could have estimated that as board or under construction of what we would need for that. So that would definitely be out of E911 funds. We're building jails, you know, and understanding we're moving E911, but you know, that's not necessarily included in the project.
No,
that answers you.
Yeah, the equipment side of updating, you're correct, and my understanding is to move our original equipment now over, and I'll make the decision of updating what we need to get updated on that side. But how much is it gonna cost? And that's what the coordination between you, me, Alpha, Windstream, Frontier, whoever's our trunks, has to get that coordinated. And I think moving in that direction early February would be the best if we're even thinking about getting in there this year.
And I agree with you, Corey. We're going to want to know that cost so the board can review that cost. And I mean, if we need to plan ahead, I mean, I know that you're in budget seasons right now and stuff. And so if we need to plan ahead, you know, we need to know what we're moving right now, what we need to plan for in the future, you know, as far as, you know, planning to buy new equipment. So that will have to happen, and we'll have to get some proposals through Alpha, or whoever the board decides if they want more than one. You know, we'll have to get proposals to present to the board for that, and I plan on assisting you with that to help out and make sure the coordination's there.
Nope, that works. The second question I had real quick is the generator, and when you think that transfer will be to the new generator. You know, having dead batteries on a brand new generator really isn't ideal 6 months after it got placed. So, you know, where did the coordination in the contractors misplace power to charging batteries? And, you know, when an alarm goes off, these guys are out there every day listening to an alarm. You see the frustration here of, wow, it really looks crappy, even though, you know.
Yeah, so the new generator hasn't been started. I mean, and the warranty hasn't started on it. So, they're planning on, I think they had training set up for, 1/6 and it fell. And I believe that they had to move it back some, but they're planning on starting that new generator up. I mean, it's a matter of timing also, Corey, as you well understand. So, that generator will be fully functional by the time, you know, when it gets started. So right now you're still on the old system, old generator. And then my understanding is it's the intent to put that out for public auction at some point in time to assist on funding through the process.
Yeah, when do you estimate? I'm just curious, so I can start really being alert of, you know, new generator startup and the transfer so that it's into that new generator and we're not on the existing one. What do you think?
Well, we'll definitely give you advance notice, but I would anticipate the transfer is gonna be at, you know, towards the end of January or beginning of February, but we'll definitely give you a heads up on when we get confirmation from the electrical contractor, when that date's supposed to be, so that you have sufficient notice to, plan for the training on the unit also. Also, I need to get together with you and see what hours you want to test, and we want to, you know, when we start that up, we want to pretty much, you know, you don't like to test under, with no load on the thing, on the emergency generator to avoid, carbon buildup on the machine. So typically you want the electrical, you know, you want to be able to test with a heavy load on it. So I got to set up the hours of testing that you want tested, how long you want tested, and also I want to make sure there's sufficient load so we don't build up carbon in the machine.
Yep. Okay, well, we'll coordinate that, I guess, soon.
Yeah, no, I figure it's gonna take a lot of coordination between us two, so.
Reggie should know too, right? Okay, I mean,
Okay,
if you could let me know too, I think my janitor needs to be there for some of this too. He's kind of like a maintenance, you know, he's.
yeah, we planned on having him there, the sheriff there, and staff, and Corey. I mean, you know, we plan on having everybody there so that they understand what's going on.
John, a couple
Any other
questions. The 800,000 you're talking about, is that an increase from column 8 here, balance to finish, where it shows 681? Your estimate is that it would be up to 800 now instead?
I said, if you wanna buy additional items, I mean, the sheriff has already bought some of the high-density shelving. If you need some furniture and stuff, I'm just saying it would be beneficial, and, I think, I got some security electronic change orders that we probably need to do. But, I was just planning on, if you're wanting to buy out some additional items, and you know as well as I do, Jason, there's always something that comes up that we haven't budgeted. I'm not necessarily saying we need to spend it, but on the other hand, you want to have sufficient funds budgeted that if you need some furniture or something to that effect, that you have an outlet to buy it. I mean, so you're at 681, I'm just saying, you know, if you want to budget 800,000, it gives you a little bit of flexibility there. I know that they had talked about possibly, I talked to Corey about possibly moving one of the cameras over to face the entrance of the courthouse. Items such as that that would assist not only in the operations of the jail, but the operations of the courthouse. So I'm just giving you some flexibility there, to accommodate that. There's always, minor things that you're looking at doing for either the existing facility or the jail or the courthouse. So it's just a matter of budgeting for it at this point in time, and then the board, of course, will be tracking it and approving any costs.
Hey, John, Corey again, we can disregard that camera move, just, I got her figured out
Okay.
here, so.
Okay.
So that 800,
That we just have to go through, and then, of course, if there's extra costs or any 911 move or something that we need to cover through the construction budget, we'd have that flexibility.
under the 800,000, that would include the E911 needs.
Some of them, yeah, I mean, if we had extra electrical outlets that need run here or there, or whatever we need to do, and, the other thing that we're looking at is, the deletion of that boiler, Jason. There's a portion of that heating system over at the sheriff's office that we're taking a look at. Some of that equipment up in that ceiling is 1978. And so we may have to extend some of the heating system that was designed for a new evidence room and stuff over in that existing building to extend to a portion of that somehow, some way.
Why wouldn't the existing infrastructure been
Well,
considered for going to bid?
Because at that time, the courthouse wasn't switching systems and the boiler was gonna be left in operation. And when you replaced the courthouse, heating and air conditioning system, it was determined by the board that we didn't need the boiler anymore, that the boiler was not operating correctly and the boiler was abandoned. So just a small portion of that is running off that boiler. So we're gonna have to extend some of the HVAC in that area. And it wasn't operational, talking to Kevin, they had extra heating systems in there anyways, because a portion of that wasn't functioning correctly anyways, and the boiler was leaking water, and talking to the maintenance guy, and it was determined by you guys to delete the boiler. So I'm just taking a look at it, trying to find the most, the most cost efficient way that we can extend some of these things. So I'm just saying, give yourself some protection. I mean, you can put in whatever you want, but, giving ourselves some protection would be a wise idea.
I don't disagree, we can put in whatever we want. I think we should have some pretty significant guidance on what that need remains to be.
And you will have that guidance.
The other question I had is why don't we show any interest on November, December, or January?
Well, for one thing, you haven't received the January interest, and I received and Becky Markle got me the interest that will be showing up on 2/1/26 pay app. She got me November and then December's, so that'll be showing up. Typically, you get the interest, several days after the end of the month, so.
Yeah, I understand, but this is well beyond several days after 11/1 and 12/1.
Yeah, I didn't have the interest, the November interest yet, so that's why that's not interest. And on 1/1, we haven't received the interest yet on December 1. For December, so.
What does your budget and cost recap include monthly for interest? Because that should impact that 681 that's currently showing in the red.
Yeah, you're about 651 right now,
What's to spend?
655, right in that range. I mean, I don't have an estimate for interest. That cost recap shows the actual cost. I'm not gonna try to estimate interest in there.
Right, but you have contingencies, and as we have change orders or savings, interest, I would think, should be factored into that contingency available.
There's no contingency right now on the 1/1/26. You're showing that you're on over budget by $681,000.
Right, and we've been averaging over 10,000 in interest, so should that bring that down by 10,000 a month?
Right now, it's brought it down for November and January about 25,000. Like I said, it's at 650. There's no contingency set up, and I'm not going to set up a contingency. As far as interest, I can get together with Becky and Rochelle and give you an estimate, but as you're spending monies out of the budget, you're also receiving less interest. So, I mean, if you're going to estimate interest into that, what you're going to put in budget for this year, then I would suggest that we sit down and figure out where we might be and then go on the light side of that interest earnings instead of searching for money at the end. I'm just saying, if you budget it if you're putting it in your budget for 26, 27, that, budget a sufficient amount so that you're not going back and trying to repeat this and then track the money, because it will show up as a contingency then. Are there any other questions, or should we move on to the pay application? I mean, and to answer your question, Jason, when I come up there and we want to sit down, I'll spend 2 or 3 days up there, and then we want to sit down and you want us to estimate some of the interest or something like that, I can get together with Becky and Rochelle, and we can take a look at that.
I just have a hard time levying our citizens for 800,000 if we don't know that that's the right amount.
We're not, are we levying it or are we budgeting it?
If we're budgeting it, we're gonna get it from our citizens through taxes, so yeah. If we're budgeting an expense, it needs to generate the income, the revenue.
So where do you want to be? You want to be on the nickel? Or what are we shooting for? And are we not gonna furnish some of the stuff that Corey's talking about, chairs and some furniture, or, or what are we, I guess what we need to do is sit down and you need to explain to me exactly what we want, and we'll get it budgeted for you. Right now, we know we need at least 651, and then if you want to estimate the interest that closely, you can estimate it, but, then we'll have to stick to that. I mean, we've done some extra work that we weren't planning on doing before too, and we got a big old stack, but,
I understand all that.
whatever you want.
But if you're saying we need 651, but we're still generating interest that's not being accounted for, we don't really need 651. That's just where I would like to know that that's factored in to some extent.
Your negative budget, 651. Negative. Right now, you're showing in 1126.
I know, I'm looking at the bottom of line 8.
Over budget. 12 line 6. Or, line item 6, column 3, on line item 6, you're over budget by 681, 352. We never finished. We were over budget that much when we started the project.
I understand, but
And
we've also received interest in November and December and now January that does not show any effect on that 681. You're telling me it's 651 now. That's great news. But that means we don't need to budget for a shortfall of 681. We should have these things showing in there or budgeted to some extent to be reflected. I know we can't be on to the cents.
Okay, you can't have January interest when it's the 12th of interest. You don't get the interest till the end of the month. And I didn't have the December interest, so I had the November, but, so they're being entered as they can, but you don't have January interest right now. January interest doesn't come till probably February, the first week of February when you get your statement.
At 10:30.
So I'll update that and send it to you, if that's what you guys want. So, I'm just saying, even if you're at 651, I mean, you're probably gonna need $150,000, is what I was saying. You need to budget, for that.
Because
Unless you wanna run it that close. I mean, if you're at negative 651 and you budget 800,000, you'd have $150,000 of contingency to get throughout the project.
so that's
I'll bring that up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so that 651, that also included that 750 we have budget currently, right? Coming out of the general fund, correct?
That's what I'm saying. You asked me if we should budget 750. So the 651, the 800,000 would cover the 651, plus it would give you $150,000 contingency, which I don't think is out of line for trying to get through the project. Will you gain a little bit of interest along the way? Yeah, you might gain another 25,000. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to spend the 800,000, but you have that protection, so you don't have to make amendments through the, before you ever get into 27.
But I'm meaning the current year, John. The current year, we have 750,000 budgeted for the general. That's included in that, right? And then we're still the 600 some thousand?
That's correct.
Okay, I want to make sure of that, okay?
Yes, that's correct. I misunderstood your first question, but yes, that 651,000 that we're over budget includes the 750 that was appropriated for 25-26.
Okay.
Take it away, Chair. I'll quit being a
We've got a 10:30.
conversation hog.
Well, if we get together, I'll come up there February 10th, and then that'll give us an opportunity to put the rest of the interest in there, except end for January. We'll take a look at where we're at. That way I can meet with Corey, and we can discuss things also on what we might be looking at that he might need. And, you know, we'll get this where you need it to be. I mean, I'm willing to do whatever, you know, to put together whatever you need to understand where you're at, Jason. So. Okay, so are we prepared to go over the pay application for the contractors now?
It's ready for
Any
that.
questions?
Go for it.
Okay, so, for, Midwest, we got construction management on site and, reimbursable amounts comes $16,121.94. I have lab testing services. We had, weld inspection and also concrete testing for $823. Plumbing, I had invoice from Redlinger for $21,089.95. And for electrical with Winger at $25,650. Job toilet, $150,000 or $150, and dumpster fees of $520 for a total of $354.89 for the month. So that'd be our recommendation that we go ahead and approve the contractor pay application for 1/1/26. Are there any questions?
Separate or just that's what in the claims, isn't it?
Well, I have it on the agenda, so we need to approve it, then you approve it again with the claims, so it needs to be approved.
Need a motion to approve the pay application for jail remodel
Make that motion.
by Schulte. Second,
I'll second it.
Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Right?
There.
That's approved.
You guys have any other questions for John?
Nope.
All right, I think we're good then, John.
Okay, thanks, and I'll get set up so that we can spend some time there beginning of February and pull everything together for you.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thanks, bye.
Okay, consider approval of the rest of the claims.
Your claims for Boswell Water Service, number 1222 and 1288.
Make that motion to pay that.
Motion by Leroy, second.
Supporting
Schulte, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
I'll make a motion to rest the claims.
Motion by Schulte on the rest of the claims. Second.
I'll second it.
Second by DeBoer, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Approved. Other business?
I don't have anything.
Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Motion by Schulte,
Support.
support from DeBoer, or Andy, I'm sorry.
Never been called such.
Aye.
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 Motion carried.
Now we get to do our favorite thing.
We got another name.
Don't we, Keith? Don't we?
What's that?
Got another drainage district.
I've got the information on this one. Started out as a repair request.
I'll make a motion on the agenda.
The motion to consider the agenda on the drainage district. Schulte, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by DeBoer, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that big
We
man.
have October 28th minutes.
Didn't I vote against or abstain from approving ISG? Hadn't I thought about seeing if Corey could do it, or is that not remembering that correctly?
Do you remember if Jason abstained for using ISG? You have your previous, no, okay.
Okay.
Need a motion to approve the minutes?
Make that motion.
By Schulte, second.
Second.
By DeBoer, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Discuss the Cheatham River repairs.
This just all started off, I had a couple requests from different farmers to do some repairs along the Ochean River. One section was up in Drainage District 22, Harold Dykstra. If you look at the red tab, you go to that page there, and you'll see where I put little arrows. That's what he requested to repair on that there. And then on the blue tab, there was a Drainage District 10. That was a Dan Hartwig and Larry Luckband requesting repair for that there. When I was going out and looking at those repairs, I noticed a lot of other things along both Drainage District 22 and 10. That's when we decided to have it drone by ISG. They sent us the drone footage, and this is what they made out for us. And if you can see, they do have all the things that they have identified things wrong with the Ochean River. There's a little diagram down at the bottom, that shows that if it's sloughing, meandering, cutbacks, heavily wooded areas, and things like that. So then following through with knowing that we have to stay under the $50,000, for us just to go ahead and fix it. I did get some verbal prices from some contractors, and they said anywhere from $10 a foot, plus mow and this and that. So even just to fix these small areas was gonna be like 25 grand or more. So then the thought was, don't wanna go above that 50,000, because when people see us out there, they're gonna want more fixed. So that's why, do we want to, just keep fixing these little things, reoccurring? We have fixed things up there in Harold Dykstra's a couple different times since I've been here, when Tom Schneider was here, you know, and they have been repaired previously. But as far as to fix things properly, it would be a much larger scale project. I did consult with Spencer from ISG. Spencer Tracy's from Spencer. I used to wrestle in high school. So he put together some questions for me, or some information, you know, about fixing that. Some of the past practices that we've done, we have just gone out there with an excavator and moved the sediment from one side of the river to the other. That keeps eroding. And Spencer thought that was just a Band-Aid, and that's why we keep reoccurring. To go along and completely fix the Ochean River is a monstrous project. There is help out there from the DNR. They got a river restoration program, you know, that would help the funding. But as of today, I just am asking, how far do we want to go with repairing the Ochean River? If we go any further, I feel like ISG, they have not charged anything for this, what I have been talking with Spencer. The only thing they charged for was the dronage and that, and we've paid that. But I have been consulting with him back and forth. Myself, I have been consulting with Spencer from ISG.
Because the motion included they would be charged to the drainage districts.
Right.
For the droning.
Right, and that was charged to the, yep, that's already been passed on. So ISG has already submitted their bill for the droning, and that's complete. But now we were talking after the fact and about what we have found, different ideas and things and how to go about things. I wish Spencer would have been able to talk today on the phone, but he had prior commitments today. So basically it's, do we want to move forward with this Ochean River project, utilizing ISG to take a hold of it and come up with some different plans of fixing things properly along there? Or do we just keep potholing and putting Band-Aids on it as we go? There are different ways to go about it, and I do feel like ISG would be probably better at coming up with a plan than us and taking our time to try and do that. I guess, you got any words?
Well, typically, we limit ourselves to minor fixes and usually fixes in the right of way, and a lot of times we're just handing things off to a contractor to fix anyway. To coordinate an overall project, that really is the responsibility of the drainage district, not secondary roads.
Did you say how much the DNR was willing to?
So that ISG talked to the DNR, they talked about the programs. They wanted to know if we wanted to move forward. Spencer said that to move forward, you know, they want to get hired to move forward to find out more things from the DNR. They would coordinate that grant application and the different things.
They didn't have a rough idea?
No, it was too broad and not enough was brought up yet. I guess like when we were fixing these different locations, my first feeling was when we get out there and the other farmers see us fixing that, they're gonna want their things fixed. Okay, so that would put us over that $50,000 threshold. So how do you start and stop, you know, for that $50,000, you know, to what can be done, you know, as far as no bids or competitive bids and things like that. If we have a bigger project, you know, I think the quota is 93,000, then we have to have competitive bids over that. You fix just two of these spots, I know they're different drainage districts, but you know, if you're at $25,000 to $30,000 and just one Band-Aid, And you look at this, and there are Band-Aids the whole 20 miles, you know, so it's how do we want to handle moving forward to fix this, or it's nothing that really has to be decided today. If you would like to hear from Spencer, and he could give you a pitch about the ideas that they have for fixing some of these things, we can do that as well, you know.
I'd like to hear from Spencer. That's just me.
Because I know it's kind of a broad suggestion, I'm just trying to cover ourselves
That's
for.
gonna come at a cost to the district.
He'll probably talk to you, I can't answer for him, you know, but a phone call like in a meeting like this, you know, after that, then it would probably start the cost thing. But I can't speak for ISG. Did you guys have the opportunity to, you know, we sent the email out, that YouTube video, you know, that shows the droning, and it shows, you know, that there up at Harold Dykstra's has significant damage, you know, and even that there by Dan Hartwig and Larry Luck bands, the river is changing its alignment. And as far as fixing it, what the DNR river restoration is exactly, I don't know exactly what the whole program is. I looked at a little bit of it, and they will come in and be part of it, and they would take over the planning of doing it. You know, the DNR would be part of that, you know, of what they fix. I've had other requests from other farmers. The wooded areas, the beavers, of course, that's the main, you just can't get rid of that. That's just there, you know, and just cutting all the trees down along the river, I'm not real for that, but you know, it's, you know, I'm not saying that, but the sloughing off of the ground and the erosion part, you know, and keeping the river straight for the drainage so that we can utilize the tile that dump into the Ochean River and keep utilizing that in an efficient manner is what I see as why we would need to do some updates to the Ochean River.
I guess my thought is we're gonna have to do it sometime.
Yes, it's not gonna fix itself. And every time we have a flood, it just gets worse. And you can definitely see 2018 to, you know, 2025 when we did this, a big difference in the channels, you know, itself. So it's saving the drainage district, the drainage, the purpose of it being a drainage district.
You know, my thought.
Can you tell me, I don't know if it matters, who were the ones that requested repairs currently?
Harold Dykstra. I don't have the forms with me, but Harold Dykstra and Dan Hartwig.
And that's one in 10 and one in 22?
Yep. Harold Dykstra is in 22 and Dan Hartwig. And actually Larry Luckband was another verbal one, you know, and he has been out there in his excavator playing along the Ochean River. I asked him not to be doing that, but he's been fixing it in his eyes and not charging the drainage district. But it's not up to me to tell a farmer to stay off of the river and they're in their prop. It's getting, you know.
Above your pay grade.
Well.
But if we don't exercise some control over it, we could be
Yeah.
charged by the district or by who knows who in
Yes.
improving a tile or
Yeah.
affecting the river.
And
My concern is there are repair requests. We're obligated to do repairs.
yeah,
I fully understand and agree with your concern that it's just gonna snowball.
yeah, okay.
But are those two individuals understanding and willing to wait out the process? I'm on board with getting the engineer's report.
Harold Dykstra was a little more contingent about the spending of money on the other parts of his drainage district. I think that comes from not feeling like it benefits them if it comes from their money. I mean, that's just natural people thinking that. Dan Hartwig, he was for like a complete restoration of whole District 10, just to make downriver better for everybody upriver, you know? So there was two different thoughts.
22 is above 10.
22 is above 10. 22 starts at Lake Bell at the state line and goes to the railroad trestle there by Ochi.
So actually wants a project that fixes in front of his property is distributed across the entire drainage district,
Mhm.
not vice versa.
Exactly.
Else done that.
And Dan wanted to fix things for everybody, you know,
At everybody's cost.
at everybody's cost, yes.
But, yeah, my concern is we're required to do repairs.
Yes.
So I don't want landowners to get the feeling that we're just ignoring the request or
Right. Yep.
making it seem unfeasible, so we don't do it.
And when I talk to them, because we have done work for Schmitz, which was just right below Harold Dykstra's in the past. And that's just why I know what's gonna happen. As soon as they see that excavator out there, then people are gonna go. So then how do I just say, no, we're to our $50,000, now everything's competitive bids, you know, we can't do you now, or do we just let it go as that? Do we put a Band-Aid on Harold Dykstra's and Larry and Dan's ground, you know, and just keep doing what we've been doing, you know, just move the dirt from one side to the other and call it good and let it go through?
And all we can do in repairs is back to original capacity too.
Yes. How do I want to say that? An improved district or an improved river, like the Ogene River has been an improved for drainage district. We can straighten and take care of that, you know. So when you say back to original, we're taking it back to the improved portion of it, not before the drainage district. Alexander's just north of A22, right there at the Ogene River Bridge. They have dumped riprap along there at their own cost too, and never turned it into drainage district stuff too. So there are people that are doing their own thing without charging it, and that's why I have the feeling as soon as they see something going on out there, they're gonna come out of the woodwork.
And really, do you want,
No, I don't. I mean, but everybody wants it fixed until they see what it costs also.
The railroad is or the old railroad.
Yeah, the old railroad trestle, yes, that's breaking point 22 and 10.
It seems to make the most sense to do these both the same way, but there's not equal interest between the two parties that have requested it, so.
Right.
It says the board may obtain an engineer's report at any time. The only other question here is, what is it? Talked about the,
Is it the same cheat code I've got here? This is what I've been.
probably. This is the actual drainage code,
Okay.
the 468-126D. If the hearing is required, the board shall order an engineer's report or a report from the Soil and Water Conservation District conservationist regarding the matter. Is that an entity we can reach out to weigh in,
I never have, but I'm sure
to
we could.
present to landowners prior to taking on the expense of hiring an engineer?
Will they want to do engineering design?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we get out.
Yeah, so like, just knowing what I have,
This code requires, or give us an option to use some.
Yeah,
If it
some
doesn't,
side of
actually.
so I have used the soil conservation before for like when we do road crossings for tile, you know, to do a drainage area and, so to size the tile going through there. I have used them, but then I found out where they get their numbers from too, so it's just another private contractor, and I didn't know that at first, but that's how they were going about it. So, I mean, I can ask, or we can ask, but I don't know what you will get out of that. it's a tough one.
My thought is start the process with the engineer on Drainage District 10 to have a public hearing or public hearing
Okay,
of the district.
okay,
Citing that we'll go in and do the repairs that these individuals requested as we have to, but we're confident or concerned or confident that it's
okay,
gonna.
so for
be
that there,
ongoing
I
repairs.
have a request for repair signed by them, but I would have to get a petition signed by them before we move on. That way, petition for repair, which is.
The board may at any time obtain.
Okay. Okay. It's just nice to have somebody's name on there so that when they back out, we went through that with one other district.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I don't think code requires that.
Okay.
And but on 22, I would communicate with the request, the one requested the repairs, that we will do this with full concern that it may become more, and continuing to address isolated incidents are going to be far more costly than exploring, or likely to be more costly than exploring other options.
Does that make sense to you, Keith?
And then if another request comes in, share with them that we were concerned about this, we addressed the first one, and we decided that if and when a second one comes in, another step was going to be taken, similar to what we were doing in 2010.
This work is distributed amongst the district. If it ends up growing into another larger project, it's just there's 2 projects in the district now instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
My question is if you want to start on something, will the state come in and help? The DNR? That's what I'm concerned about, that they might say, no, you're already started. It's on you.
That's, so maybe before, what would it be like if we had Spencer talk with the DNR, come up with a short plan and answered those kind of questions before moving forward?
That's where I could see value to doing that in 10.
Yes. Yep, I know what you're saying.
Addressing 22 separately, and then with 10's findings, we can say, this is likely going to be very similar to what could or should be done in 22.
I can see the state walking away.
After we've been out there trying to fix stuff and then they say no.
Yeah.
I mean, the river is a very touchy situation.
Yes, it is.
And if we move forward and lose funding because of what we did,
It's not worth it.
we can do that.
But the desires expressed are different between each individual wanting the same thing.
Well, I think their initial applications are the same. It's just one is
Or communication.
one has said, hey, I understand this really needs to be done, the whole thing needs to be done, but the other one doesn't like that.
So yeah, if they would be willing to move it to a petition, then
That's what I mean. If Dan moved it to a petition, then that would be good for starting forward with a engineer's report.
But as far as the code and having them involved, I don't think all of this being presented to the board, responsible for both districts, doesn't already communicate that. But petition is certainly a.
Yes, that's why.
It would be nice to see.
Yep, I agree.
Anybody else opposed to treating the 2 districts separately at this point, or wanting to do one approach to all?
Really, we don't have a lot of choice but to keep it separate now, do we?
You would be separate, yeah, because they would have to be separate, yes.
Sometimes if they do the projects
Together,
together, then
yeah.
it's a cost savings.
Yes.
You can bid them together separately, but we've done
It's
64
cost
and
savings.
65 together.
And that was the one, when I had a petition for repair from him and, what was his, Ransom, I met with them and they signed that. And then when we went to find an engineer's report, Ransom called me and says, I don't want to do that, we don't need to pay for that. And I says, and that's the one I was talking about, that's what's good about having a petition signed, you know, because after the fact, they didn't want to move forward, but it was too late.
I mean, we're to that already with the way code reads. If we're gonna bump against that 50,000, we can't break them up into separate $50,000 projects
Right.
to avoid it.
Exactly.
It's clear that we need to get an engineer involved. That's,
Yeah, and as far as, you know, like the work we have done up there for Harold Dykstra, like I said, it was just an excavator moving the dirt from one side to the other side, you know, and straightening it up. Well, it was straight, but, you know, just getting them cutbacks out. Do you need to put riprap down? Do you need to do a low cut basin, you know, and a high flow, you know? But that's a river. I don't know those kind of things. You do that in an open ditch, the low flow and the high flow, but I don't know if you can do them in a river, you know, so.
I agree, I'd like to see a petition signed.
Yep. So like up there in Harold Dykstra, you just want us to go up there and fix that stuff the way that they have fixed it in the past years, you know, just with an excavator and straightening it out and then saying that's our project there and then moving on? Or do you want to wait and see what happens with District 10 before we move up to 22? Because if you're gonna use 22 to piggyback off of 10, we shouldn't go up there right away.
That's what I was just thinking.
if I'm following that logic exactly.
You know, how we said, you know, like if we do with the DNR, if we go through an engineer's report and then we go through the DNR and do the river restoration, and they said you had already done some repairs to the river we don't want to be part of that program, or you can't be part of this program, kind of like what you said before. So if I go up there, and fix 22, and then we decide that this river restoration with the DNR is working in 10, let's do it to 22. Well, we did that work up there already, and that affects the DNR. Otherwise, are we just thinking too much into it?
No, I understand what you're saying now, but they're separate districts.
Yeah.
And separate understandings and willingness
Yep.
have been indicated. So, and greater work downstream makes far more sense than greater work upstream.
Yeah, that's the way to put it, yes.
So with them already being interested, it makes sense to proceed to that.
Okay.
And being willing to share with them that
Yeah.
responsive to the landowner, we did the repair.
Mm-hmm.
As a board, as a staff, we thought this may be needed. And
Yeah.
seeing the process with the downstream was going to be a benefit.
Yeah.
In considering all options. I would be less concerned with that being a problem
Yeah.
than if it was flipped.
Yep.
If it was
Yep.
downstream, that was
Mhm.
doing a Band-Aid.
That makes sense.
But I don't want to just sit back and not do anything when we had a repair request and we're obligated to.
Yeah.
But you have done it up there before.
Yeah, when Tom was here, you know, so it's been a few
Yeah.
years, you know, and yeah. Because actually Harold has requested that one other time, quite a few years ago. And, I don't know who was in here then, but they said, no, we're not gonna go out there and fix that. We'll hire some, and then it never got done, so.
there a motion or action that needs to be taken on our part?
Just to move forward with the suggestions we had.
Ready to write,
How do you
Michelle?
want to say that?
I don't think you need any.
Art taking the minutes.
To go back to the one person and ask them to file an actual petition, but the one that you're just gonna do the improvements on, do you normally vote to approve those improvements or is it the threshold?
It's under the threshold. So there shouldn't be one then.
Once the petition is filed, then the board will have to accept the petition and then start the process of hiring an engineer and all that good stuff.
So you do want a motion to go forward?
Well, just for what we did for our discussion on how to handle today's talk, so.
You ready to motion?
I think so.
Okay.
Probably do it in two separate ones. I'll do a motion to proceed on repairs in Drainage District number 22 with the understanding that additional requests would indicate to the board that a larger project would likely need to be considered.
Was that your motion?
That was a motion.
Motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Leroy. All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Guys?
You want action on number 10? I'm thinking that we want to discuss with landowners their interest in limiting the action to the repair or consideration of larger approaches of interest. Do you want us to just include that in our
I think
minutes
that
if
should
that's
be, I
the
think it should be
understanding?
in the minutes, you know, or you can motion on it if you want, but as long as you got record of it so that we know what people are thinking and how we're gonna go about the situation. It's a good to have that.
You want to just have that relative to District 10, that would be the approach, or do you want a motion?
Does it matter? I don't know what the proper way is, that one. I mean, we can definitely put it in the minutes. I can add that to the minutes when she does it. to say about that.
However you guys want to handle that.
I'll make a motion that we withhold repair on drainage district, request on drainage district number 10. The discussion is held with the landowners concerning their interest in limiting action to the repair or considering a larger approach.
Could it just be in the minutes that way without a motion?
Not anymore because I made a motion. It can die for lack of a second, but.
Is there a second?
Just for consideration, if it dies for lack of second, and then that's the approach we take, I find that a little odd, but.
I can second it.
My understanding has always been the chair can second motions, but doesn't bring motions.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Sorry if I hopefully complicated it, but.
Yeah. We'll get her straightened out. The river and everything. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, just give it to Mike, he'll take care of it.
And the motions were clear that the current staff would continue those discussions and that legwork. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys.
No? To adjourn?
Motion.
Mike, second? Second. Leroy, all in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.
What do you need?
I do know it's high time to stand up.
I don't understand how that drainage system stuff. Too good at running meetings.
Jeff, did you bring those applications for the community foundation back? I had meant to sit down and finish my last 4 last night, and I did not.
Leroy, you want to sign those, did you sign the claims already? I need your signature, okay, Jeff, since you are the chair, I need you to sign, or acting as chair. This is a pay application, and these are minutes, please, whenever you have a chance.